Good morning, Stone Mountain. This is Mrs. Frenchie. Hopefully you all had a wonderful weekend and you are rested and ready to start this great week. So we are on the last component of being the driver of our own bus. So we are talking about safety today. So remembering that you are responsible for making safe choices that respect yourself and others. So I want to talk a little bit about the lunchroom right now. And so you might have noticed that we have a couple of new expectations in the lunchroom, and they are painted, thank you to Mrs. Cavan and Mrs. Verez, they are painted on the canvases on the walls. And so some of the new expectations are around being safe in the lunchroom. So the first one is staying in your seat. And it is important to stay in your seat at all times in the lunchroom. And the reason for that is because when you are walking around with your tray at the very beginning and you're looking to find your seat, that's totally fine. But when you sit down in your seat, that's where you need to stay unless you raise your hand and an EA comes to chat with you and there's a reason why you need to get up, okay? But it's important that you stay in your seat, and that way it's safe for everybody. So nobody gets any food spilled on them, or they don't trip and fall, or they don't run into anyone, and it's less chaotic in the Cub Cafe. So that first expectation is to stay in your seat. The next one is to control your body. And so I know that sometimes we get super excited, especially when we're hanging out with our friends and we are in the lunchroom because you get to talk and hang out. But it's important that we control our body. That means that our hands are not flailing everywhere. We're not kicking. We're not moving around a lot in that lunch table or on that lunch table, because when we control our body, or when we don't control our body, that is unsafe for us and that's unsafe for our friends around us. So you need to control your hands. You need to control your legs. And most importantly, you need to control your mouth. And that goes into our third expectation, which is use inside voices. So it's important that you chat with the people at your table. We are not yelling at a table across the room. And the reason for that is that hurts people's ears, right? And that's not respectful tone of voice for inside of our building. So we are simply chatting with people at our table. If you were at Red Robin, you wouldn't scream and yell to a table across the restaurant. Same thing. You want to treat the Cub Cafe like that table is a table at your restaurant. So we're not yelling, we're not screaming, we're using quiet inside voices to talk to our friends around us. Okay. Another expectation is to show respect. So that means we are respectful to our friends around us, and we're also respectful to the educational assistants. We're respectful to Mr. Gilbert. We're respectful to our kitchen manager and our kitchen staff. And we are treating other people with kindness and care. When we're respectful to the adults in the building, if it's in the Cub Cafe or in your classroom or in the hallway, that means that we're treating people kindly. We're using their name. We are smiling. We're talking to them with a nice tone of voice. So we're respectful to the people in our building, the adults in our building. So when an educational assistant claps or tells you it's time to put your cub paws up and listen, we are following those rules. We're putting our cub paws up, we're listening, and we're ready for direction. That sort of goes into making sure that we clean up our space. So it is not Mr. Gilbert's responsibility. It is not the educational assistant's responsibility or your friends to clean up your mess. So you are the driver of your own bus when you are cleaning up your mess around you. So just like at home, if you were sitting at the kitchen table eating dinner with your family and you were spilling crumbs, or you spilled your drink, you wouldn't have your mom or dad clean that up. That would be your responsibility. Or you shouldn't have your mom or dad clean it up. That's your responsibility. Or if you drop something on the ground, that is your responsibility to clean up. So you need to be the driver of your own bus and clean up your space. I know that, and I have seen that at the end of lunchtime, you have to grab the rag and clean up the table. It is important that you all take turns to do that. If there's a lot of crumbs on the ground, right, from the people before you, that is okay. But if you drop your baggie, it is your responsibility to pick that up. It's also your responsibility to take turns so everybody has a chance to use that wipe to clean up the tables. It's not the same person's responsibility every time to clean up that table. And then the last one is use your manners. I love to hear when kiddos say please and thank you. It is absolutely a expectation that you are saying please and thank you to the kitchen manager and the people helping out in the lunchroom and in the lunch line. It is an expectation that you are saying please and thank you to the educational assistants, to Mr. Gilbert, and to your teachers every single day. That is called having integrity and having good manners. So I am hoping that that is something that your parents are making you do at home as well. Please and thank you is absolutely an expectation at Stone Mountain. So you need to use your manners when someone does something or says something to you. And this is an adult and even a kiddo. If a kiddo helps you pick up a baggie on the floor, you need to say, thank you so much for helping me pick that up. Or if you are asking for Miss Nancy to refill the water jug in the cafeteria, then you are saying, Miss Nancy, can you please fill up the water jug for us so I can fill up my water? Please and thank you will go so far. So the reason we have these expectations in the Cub Cafe is to keep you safe. So these past videos have all been around being the driver of your own bus. So we talked about how it is important to be respectful to the students and the staff and any parent in the building. We talked about how you need to be responsible. So it is your responsibility to make sure that you have your homework, that you have your water bottle. It is your responsibility, not your parents' responsibility or your teacher's responsibility. And we've been talking about safety. So it is your responsibility to be a safe Stone Mountain Cub. And I hope that all of you have looked at those expectations, you've thought about those expectations, and you will be showing all of the adults in the Cub Cafe that you are a safe Stone Mountain student by staying in your seat, by controlling your body, your hands and your feet, by using your manners, by showing respect, using inside voices, and cleaning up your space. I know that I have seen lots of grade levels do a great job with these expectations. I really want to see my 5th and 6th graders model great expectations in the Cub Cafe. So kiddos, make sure that you are the drivers of your own bus and you are staying safe. You're being responsible for yourself and being respectful every single day here at Stone Mountain. Have a great week.